think it's time we BAM join the party.
Welcome back to the Tidarium Hair. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with a Kingdom version of Warpath. This is a pretty solid figure, a very solid evolutionary step in Transformers, and one of the best versions of this character around. He's got a couple of shortcomings. There's a couple of things that surprised me out of the box that didn't come with him. But aside from all that, he's a pretty good figure, so let's get into it and talk about the good and the bad. Packaging, it seems like he has a bigger window than that of Cyclonus, but here you see the bot on the side, there's the top, and same old picture except on a smaller scale of the box. Going back, you see both modes, which they both appear to be pretty good. One downside to this Kingdom packaging is that you can't really put him back in there. He's just going to flop around. Like once you take him out of this, he flops around. But anyway, I guess these cards are random, so let's randomly look at this card, and it looks like the ARC. I got an ARC sticker and card in this. Is that the chase one? Is that the rare one? Alright, so here he is in his alt mode, and Warpath looks pretty good. It does look a lot like Warpath, and very G1-esque design, kind of a Earthrise. Well, now it's Kingdom, and from all angles, he does look pretty good. It does look like they did paint some of the plastic, and some of the plastic is more of a burgundy, so you can kind of see the plastic in different colors, but it really doesn't take away from it too much. But it is interesting. They actually painted this. That's pretty cool. There's this isn't painted here, but anyway, looking at it, it does look really good. Straight from the back, from the side, and he does have little ports, so I think those are for blast effects, so he look like he took a hit or something like that. Got the treads, and they're kind of a grayish, kind of white tread. They do have a nice tamper-graphed Autobot symbol right there, so it does work really well. You can turn this turret 360, and it goes up and down, so that works really well. It does look good. Rolls. It was rolling. Yeah, it rolls. But let's do a few comparisons on this guy. So first of all, I want to compare him to the G1 and kind of see where we came from and where we are going. And one cool feature is on the G1, you did have the head that popped up. On this one here, you can do the same thing because of the transformation, and you can pop his head up, and you can have the head pop up gimmick. It's just one of those things that I guess a Warpath figure really needs to have that head pop-up gimmick. Here's compared to some older figures, more of a classics, and he does feel too small. He just feels too small to go with them, but also I kind of, in my mind, I think he's just a bit on the small side. I would have liked to see him Voyager, but I guess they have to fill enough slots in Deluxe, and he is sort of a mini-bot. He was a mini-bat originally. This is one of those characters that kind of could go either way, just depending on how you feel about it. So let's get into his transformation. I think that it's pretty involved, and that's where you're paying for all of the engineering that goes into this guy and how involved the transformation. So you need to take this part off here, and these two tabs go into those slots and hold this together. Without that, it doesn't really hold together very well. I mean, it can sort of pull it off, but anyway, the next thing you want to do is disconnect these arms here, get them out of the way and away, and then we're going to fold the whole lower body. Okay, so we need to fold these tabs down and kind of clear that right there. The next thing we're going to do is kind of expand it and fold it out like so, and then that way you can fold this foot down, and then it's going to fold all the way around, kind of like we did with the MP44 Prime, and then that kind of does a foot, which is strange. We do need to close in this this last little piece here, and it does tab into that. So there's a little bit of moving past stuff, a little bit of tolerance issues. But let's go and do that again. Fold this out like so. So we can throw this down, fold it all the way around. That's to the back. And then close this in. It's tricky and it's kind of strange, but that's how it's done. Anyway, moving to the back here, we got a couple things. We can go ahead and take out the head right now. Then we're going to need to pull this part here Getting the clearance to get that through is just kind of strange. Now we pull this up and we have the arms up here. We can push in his chest piece and start working on his arms, and the arms are pretty easy. Now they're pretty easy because they leave a lot of kibble on them. So you have a lot of kibble there, and then what are you gonna do with this piece? Well, you can do a lot of things. You could either put it on his arm like the instructions say, put it on his back. I prefer it on his back, so I'm gonna put it on his back, and that's how I'm gonna have a look at this guy. So let's look at this Warpath. He is definitely a G1-esque Warpath. He does look pretty good. In fact, he's the best one we've got, and that's just all there is to it. He is the best, but he's not perfect. I actually, with all of the engineering that went into this guy, there's a couple of things that kind of surprised me that are still there, but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But he does have quite a bit of paint. Like, a lot of this red is paint, but it kind of leads to where it doesn't match the plastic here and there. So if you're a nitpicker on that, that might be an issue for you. It doesn't really bother me that much, and really, aside from this excessive light that I put on this thing right now, I wouldn't even notice it. I do notice this. I wish it was a little smaller, but I mean, there would be a lot more steps to make that a lot smaller. And then this is paint right here, and that is really good looking paint. It's really close to the color of the plastic that's on there. So, and I think this is painted also too. So quite a bit of paint on this guy. He does have some waffling on the inside of his legs there, like right here and right kind of in there. But overall, pretty clean, pretty good looking. His feet are humongous, but that is part of the character too, so there's all that. Let's look quickly at the articulation, head side to side, up and down, and then you can go out to the 90. Look, you got that whole joint there, and then 360. See, you have the swivel. This is something they've been doing right at the elbow swivel, not at the bicep swivel. And then you have the 5mm port hands, which do move, but what good are they? He doesn't have a gun to hold. So anyway, you do have waist swivel. It's tight. You do have the swivel at the thigh, and you have a 90-degree at the knee, and you do have, because of the transformation, quite a bit of articulation in the ankle rocker, so you could give him an extreme ankle rocker pose. So let's get this guy set up for some comparisons. Now here he is with another mini-bot, Cliff Jumper, and the considered mini-bots, I do look at him a lot bigger, so I'm kind of happy with that scale. I do feel like he's still a bit too short. Would have liked him a little bit bigger. That's just the way it is. Now you can kind of bring in an Earthrise Prime, which is also Kingdom Prime, because I don't know if there's going to be a difference between this one and the Kingdom one, but there's that. Here he is next to the G1, so I guess I'll stop complaining about his height and his size. He is much bigger than the G1. And here he is next to the, I think this was Reveal the Shield Classics 30th Anniversary, I don't know. One of the older ones, and to me this was the best looking version back in the day. Now you can see the feet are a bit smaller than those feet. Overall, I think the aesthetic of this older one still kind of holds up, but only in bot mode. So the alt mode does not look good on this guy here at all whatsoever, really. So there's kind of the difference between these. If you're looking to upgrade this guy with this guy, well, he is a little shorter. I said I wasn't going to complain, but I'm just pointing that out. Here he is next to Fans Toys and the Final Victory, and I do still think Final Victory was okay. But looking at these, I think he fits in relatively well. They kind of do a lot of things the same, but Fans Toys was able to engineer the feet down quite a bit, and considering the size of them. Almost all of these kind of have the foot problem, but I think it's much cleaner and much smaller and much smoother on the Fans Toys. Again, Fans Toys is a $100 figure. This is $20, so what you're getting for $20, that's actually pretty good value. And looking at the figures that I've looked at so far in 2021, Kingdom and Studio Series, which I kind of think they're all one and the same, they're just in different packaging. Very similar type of engineering. They're going in a different direction with more complex engineering, and both modes looking a lot better. With this, Hot Rod is the best. So Hot Rod is really next level. And right behind that is Cyclonus. Cyclonus is really good. A couple of minor things, but he's still really good. And he's not bad. Warpath is not bad. As a Warpath goes, he's pretty good. But I don't feel like he's quite to the level of Hot Rod and Cyclonus. But then again, these are both Voyager, and this guy is in the Deluxe scale. So it's kind of the $20 price point versus $30 price point. Are those guys worth it? I mean, I think every one of these is worth it. Next, since he didn't come with a gun, I'm going to kind of go around and show with Hot Rod's gun. I mean, Hot Rod came with 2 guns, so what all can be done? Now, you could, if you had anything that's 5mm, you can plug it into his arm here. You can plug it into his arm here, and all of that would work just fine. Again, if you had the 5mm ports and all that stuff, you can also plug it into here. And the reason he has so many 5mm ports is probably because of these new weaponizers that they're coming out with, so that you can wear the armor, wear the bones or whatever in the Kingdom line. So I think it's kind of a cool idea, but I do kind of like the cleaner look of Hot Rod and the direction that they went with that. And also, Cyclonus didn't have this many 5mm ports. But also want to talk about the other ports. So when he's in the alt mode, you do see that this is exposed. Kind of a plug there for you to put on a blast effect, like, oh, he just took a hit. Which these blast effects don't really look like he just took a hit. There's this white one. I mean, it's just very obvious it's white there. But I mean, it's kind of, he looks like he took a hit in the leg, took a hit in the arm. So all of these gimmicks are still carrying over, and I don't know if they actually sell figures, the ones at the price point around $6 that had these in it. I picked up a couple extras. I might have to get them out, open them up, and put them on my display. So this has been the Kingdom Warpath, and is my third of the modern figures, my second Kingdom figure, my third of this whole new 2021 line of figures that are coming out. I just say he's the best Warpath out there. I have to say that they did a lot of cool things with this. The engineering is definitely far beyond anything I've seen them do before to make it look Super G1 in both modes. Pretty clean in both modes. He does have some kibble. He's got big feet issue. He's got the big kibble hanging off of the forearms, which is kind of part of the character anyway. But I still think it's a pretty good figure overall. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm still excited about looking at the rest of these new figures they've come out with. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and Tidarium Hanger out.
Wham! Bang! Warpath's on the roll! Bam! Gotcha! Bang! Yeah! Come on, Hoist! You take any longer and bam! I missed! Guess I just boom! Ruined his day!
Wilt thou help us against the other giant knights?
We'd like nothing better. Lead on!